I find that those type of development programs have really helped me shape and see outside of my business so I can look at my business and approach it at more of a high level. I grew up witnessing the way my father and his brother and sister ran the business, and it was very much based on honesty, integrity, and trust. And I think those are the key ingredients in any relationship.
Today we are exploring the intersection of textile excellence, ethical manufacturing, and the massive business advantage of supplier diversity.
Lead with authenticity, and really get to know yourself, understand your strengths, your weaknesses, surround yourself with those that can make you and the company whole.
Hello everyone, this is Kripa Anand and welcome to the She and Success podcast, powered by She and Success Business Magazine, a platform dedicated to spotlighting the voices, strategies, and journeys of women leaders and entrepreneurs who are shaping Canada's business and policy landscape. Today, we are exploring the intersection of textile excellence, ethical manufacturing, and the massive business advantage of supplier diversity. In 2026, building a brand isn't just about the product, it's about who you source from, who you hire, and who you champion the voices around you. Joining us today is Kathy Cheng, president of WS&Co and founder of Redwood Classics Apparel. With over 3 decades of textile expertise, Kathy has built one of Canada's leading apparel manufacturers, recently cementing a major partnership with Trimark. A tireless advocate for inclusive supply chains, she is here to share her blueprint for scaling while staying socially conscious. So, before further ado, let's welcome this special woman. Kathy, welcome to the podcast. Here for the second time on She in Success. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me again. Feel like home.
Beautiful. Now, Kathy, you've led WS&Co and Redwood Classics through 2 decades of significant evolution in the Canadian apparel industry. So, what is your secret superpower as a woman entrepreneur? What has been the key factor in scaling a Canadian manufacturing business globally?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me again. I think the there's no real secret sauce more than it is. I've been fortunate enough that we're building upon the legacy of a family business. So I'm second generation on Canadian soil. But, things have not changed in terms of our values and the value proposition that we bring to the marketplace, which is really focused on workmanship and high quality, quick to market, very low minimums, and really our collaborative approach in terms of how we do product development and bulk production. So we allow our partners to focus on what they're great at and allow us to focus on what we think we're pretty good at.
That's the perfect blend right there. Your commitment to local excellence proves that Made in Canada remains a premium, high standard brand. That's beautiful. Now, let's explore how supplier diversity strengthens business strategy and economic impact. Kathy, please go ahead and explain to all the women founders who are looking up to you for more information,
Right.
why is supplier diversity a strong business growth strategy?
So I'm going to use the term supplier inclusion because I think in the geopolitical landscape, sometimes just the words matter. So,
Right.
with regards to supplier inclusion, I think the natural answer would be, oh, I'm going to get diverse certified so then I can have business opportunities. So I can, be at the table for procurement opportunities and RFPs. And that may be part of it. You do access opportunities. But I would say the most important thing about, my journey in supplier inclusion
Yeah.
has really been the development programs. I don't think I considered myself a leader years ago, and I remember being inducted in the class of 2014 EY Winning Women program, which is an evergreen program and an awards program where they select 12, women-owned businesses, high growth potential, inducted in the North American class, so along with, the US counterparts and Canadians, and I remember I felt like I didn't belong, that I didn't know why I was there. But through that program, I always say EY helped me find my voice before I think I knew I had one, and they saw me for who I was. And that was just one of the development programs, right? Then I went on to winning, we won Supplier of the Year for Camp C,
Mhm.
where we were able to then access yeah, to go to Tech at Dartmouth. Never did I think I'd have an opportunity to go to an Ivy League business school. So one scholarship there, then Shea Moisture. I got another scholarship to go back. I was one of the first international students for the Google digital program. So there's tremendous opportunities. I've also taken part in the Accenture program, development program. I think often as entrepreneurs, we know we should be working on the business and not in the business, but as an SME, it's very hard. And so I find that those type of development programs have really helped me shape and see outside of my business so I can look at my business and approach it at more of a high level. So capacity building is such a big part of it.
Beautiful. You've achieved so many things, Kathy, and it has just, made you more resilient. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are looking up to you for inspiration, as I said. Um, when you broaden your supply chain,
Mhm.
you don't just gain equity, you gain innovation and resilience.
Yeah.
And those are the two things that you wouldn't want to miss out on. Now, let's explore how supplier diversity or supplier inclusion, as Kathy mentions, strengthens business strategy and economic impact. How exactly, Kathy, do you manage large partnerships while protecting manufacturing integrity? To the small business owners watching, in 2026, representation matters. If your supply chain looks exactly the same as everyone else's, you are missing out on the unique perspectives, agility, and innovation that diverse suppliers bring to the table. Supplier diversity isn't charity, it is a business growth leveler. Stop settling for the easy route and start intentionally building a supply chain that reflects the diversity of the customers you serve. It is the fastest way to build a brand that resonates.
I would say I grew up witnessing the way my father and his brother and sister ran the business, and it was very much based on honesty, integrity, and trust. And I think those are the key ingredients in any relationship, not necessarily a large partnership or if it's with your team, whatever relationship. So I think having the confidence and the courage to have difficult conversations, that has been extremely helpful. And I think and I hope it also sets a message where you're respecting your own company, you're respecting your staff, you're respecting the product and service that you provide, and it's setting boundaries,
Right.
right? For both parties. And so, it's a dance of where do we find those boundaries?
That's so true. If you're true to your own self, then you're true to the others around you as well.
Yeah.
Strategic alignment with the right partners is the hallmark of a business that is built to last. We'll take a quick break right here, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll dive into how Kathy is spotlighting and supporting women leaders through the Women of the Week initiative. Stay tuned.
At Purolator, we understand the importance of every delivery, whether it's a document, a special gift, a critical healthcare shipment, or an entire warehouse worth of inventory. Throughout our more than 60-year history, we've honed our expertise to build out a powerful portfolio of logistics services that enable us to deliver on every promise. Whether shipping across town or around the globe, from small and medium-sized businesses to industrial, technology, retail, and healthcare sectors, Purolator serves a diverse array of customers. So no matter what, where, or when you're shipping, Purolator's expertise, experience, and innovative solutions enable us to deliver on your promises.
Welcome back to the She and Success podcast. Let's explore how the Women of the Week campaign is celebrating and amplifying female leadership across industries. Now, let's look at how the Women of the Week campaign highlights and supports female leadership. So, please go ahead, first of all, for all the listeners who don't know what this is, what this week entails, and what inspired this campaign. And please go ahead and, let our listeners understand the importance of recognition.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very proud to share that our Women of the Week we founded, it actually launched 5 years ago on International Women's Day,
Mhm.
so 2021. And as of today, we have featured over 262 female voices. So the Women of the Week basically is every Wednesday, we are featuring a female voice, regardless of capacity, regardless of geographic location,
Hmm.
regardless of industry. And really, the whole premise of that is recognizing everyone has a voice. And what I was finding was that, I think a lot of innovation or creativity comes out of lived experiences.
Yes.
So my lived experience was I felt, when I first started the business and I didn't know I was a leader, I just didn't feel comfortable using my voice. And I didn't think I had one
Hmm.
until I was gently pushed time and time again. So I think this is our way of giving back and recognizing, and we hope, we share our platform. We don't charge for it. We really just want to amplify voices and empower other female voices so they recognize that their voice is important and their advice that they may have in their lived experience and their story is important.
This also beautifully blends into this year's theme, that is gift to gains.
Yes.
It just means that true power is not achieved alone. It is achieved when you uplift one another and when you share your networks, your resources, and then eventually everyone gains out of it. The country gains, the business gains, you gain. Lifting others up as you climb is the most effective way to change the landscape for future leaders, and your campaign is just a beautiful reminder of that, Kathy. Finally, let's explore the leadership lessons shaped by your 2 decades of business experience. Kathy, what's that biggest leadership lesson that you've learned on your way, and how has that guided your journey over the last 20 years?
I would say the biggest leadership lesson that I've learned, and I'm still learning, um, is to believe in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to love yourself, to see yourself, and have confidence in yourself. Um, I think when you start stepping into your own space and your own power, um, it allows you to have the confidence to be authentically you.
Yes.
And when you're authentically you, I find that magic happens where those that are meant to be surrounded by in your orbit, you are. So if I was to look at my journey, I don't think I strategically, like I'm not that strategic. Don't think I strategically did that. I just started to find my voice. I started to find myself and my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And through that have met wonderful, wonderful mentors and friends and partners along the way. And like the theme of this year's International Women's Day, it's, you give to gain. And I think that's what I've realized that, I continue to give. I do a lot of volunteer work, from mentorship to sitting on boards, but it's fulfilling. And that's really a selfish way to look at it, though, right? Some people say, oh, you do so much. No, I don't actually. That's very selfish because I feel fantastic when I see the results of the fruits of labor that we put in.
Very well articulated. Your answers always leave me in an awe. I'm loving this conversation, Katie, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be so inspired by your stories today. But before we let you go, if there's one piece of final advice that you have for all the women founders who are listening to you right now, who are struggling to balance profit with their faith, how do they do that?
That's a great question. How do you balance profit with your faith? I would say lead with authenticity, and really get to know yourself, understand your strengths, your weaknesses, surround yourself with those that can make you and the company whole. And recognize that you don't know everything and, lead with curiosity. I'm very curious. And I continue to be curious every day.
Right. All right. That was Kathy Cheng for you guys. It has been such a pleasure, Kathy, having you back here and sharing your vision and insights with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, Kripa.
All right, that was Kathy Cheng from Redwood Classics Apparel, a masterclass in how to build a resilient Canadian main brand that prioritizes both economic growth and social impact. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the She and Success podcast powered by She and Success Business Magazine. Be sure to subscribe for more expert insights and visit sheandsuccess.ca for resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our exclusive shipping partner, Purolator, for their ongoing commitment to supporting women entrepreneurs and helping them build, grow, and lead successful businesses across Canada. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.